Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Tony with YORUBADE, a platform for West African diasporans and also first generation West Africans that want to talk about different topics related to business and just personal development rather than the typical entertainment pieces, gossip, and food. So as you see in the title, this is about Joe Biden and the comments that he made. He made this back in February, so about a month ago, and I wanted to speak on it then, but I just wasn't sure how I wanted to create the video and what direction I want to go in. So after just more thought and just what's going on with me personally and what I want to do, my goals, I figured this is a good time to really talk about my ideas and what I see when I see just different leaders talk about Africa in general. So as you can see, Joe Biden made a comment to threaten sanctions on Nigeria and other African nations about their anti-laws. And we all know that African culture is really conservative. There's no secret, and it's completely fine. Other people might not like it, but it doesn't matter because we're sovereign nations. This is how we are, and we're proud of it. So I've spoken in past videos how just we don't, African nations, we don't get respect. And when I see how news media from the West, from the Western world, and just other leaders, how they talk about just different African nations, sub-Saharan African nations specifically, it sounds like it's like they talk to us like we're petulant children. And it's very condescending, it's not well received, and it's annoying. Two cases I remember is just BBC, the way that they do their reporting, the news reporting when it comes to African events, things that are happening in Africa, and even when they interview some folks over there. And another example is there was an interview with the president of Kenya, Kenyatta, I believe his name is, where he was asked by this British reporter about his country and LGBT rights and stuff like that. And he was saying that it's a non-factor. There's no reason why you should be bringing it up. It's not a factor to us. It's not an issue like you want it to be. Excuse me. And she just kept on going on and on in a very condescending tone, sort of as if she feels like she's on his same level. And it's just ridiculous, because in my mind I'm thinking you won't talk to the president of the United States that way, or even president of Brazil or other nations. But when it comes to this Kenyan president, you just feel so comfortable where you can just talk any type of way. So those are the two cases I noticed. But I'm gonna get back to my main point. My main point is, after all just the voiceful displays of protest, the fervent prayer, the fervent praying that we keep on doing, and the crying in public is just not enough. It's never been enough. It wasn't enough back then, it's not enough now, and it's just getting old, and it's frustrating when I keep seeing us do the same thing. It doesn't, those actions alone don't do anything to solve the problems in our communities back home. And it's been time that we realize, like, look, we gotta switch up the game plan. We gotta do something different if we wanna see some different results, because just doing the same thing, it just further sustains the environment for these imperialistic threats to continuously happen. And I'm not about that. So somehow this has been routine for us. The constant charity infomercials that we all dread seeing, the unrest has become routine. Our response to the unrest has become routine. Social media, type, a lot of noise, hashtag, over and over and over. It's the same thing that happens every time. Even the conversation that we have after it, it's just like, oh man, this is crazy. Why can't this be better? Why can't this situation be better? These leaders are corrupt, and it's just, we expect there to be a never-ending chaotic situation on the continent. and that's where we're at. So we also seen, at least me personally, but I'm sure we all heard of it, when people try to say the positive slogans like Africa Rising and Africa Spring, investing in Africa, and we will say that, and then somehow we nonchalantly just allow other people or other leaders just to talk about Africa the way that they do. And sometimes it gets baffling to me, like these slick comments, like, well, I won't say it's a slick comment, but just comments like this where it's just like, you got the audacity to tell another country how they're going to be ran, and threatening financial sanctions to a group of people where the issue of LGBT is not a major issue specifically in Nigeria right now. That's with all that's going on in Nigeria, it's freaking ridiculous. So, but anyways, I think he's just talking. It ain't like, I don't believe much is gonna happen. But just us being silent as a whole, I kind of feel like it's just a byproduct of low self-esteem and shame, because we're not doing as well as we should be doing. So I guess some people feel that it's hard to actually defend, just our countries or our homeland, because it doesn't look pretty right now. So what also has become routine is just a fatuity in how a lot of us in our community talk about Africa, and just kind of washing their hands of the whole situation, and just being done with having any meaningful impact on the continent, just because of all the problems that they see. So what I can foresee is, after the next tragedy, so right now Senegal is going through its issues right now, and it's just unfortunate, but after the next tragedy, I feel that it will make a lot of diasporans more secured in their beliefs that Africa is hopeless, Africa is doomed, the governments are just inept in properly creating and maintaining functioning systems that are efficient. I feel like China is taking over. Africans over there will steal your money. Maybe they had personal cases where they sent money back home, or they tried to do business back there and they just lost their money. Africa as a whole being controlled by the West. Heard a couple people say that, and Africa is just not safe at all. So, but there is enough of us that know that this isn't completely true, because we do look at the data for ourselves, and we look at just being there and having a balanced approach and a balanced view to what's going on. We understand that Africa is the last frontier, and this is just coming from UN statistics when it comes to economics. So what I've seen really is, and it's probably, I'm sure it has to be obvious that the investment in Africa, the capital that's required is much less than anywhere else in, believe in the Western world for the most part. So, the financial potential over there is very attractive, and one of the reasons why a lot of other people are coming and setting up shop and doing business over there. We need to be over there as well, really heavy over there. What I notice is either it's our generation or the generation that's going to be after us, so the younger generation are standing up to those in power. They're not just taking it, they're not just being passive about it, and they're doing what they feel is best for them to get their message out and for them to be heard. Now, I don't necessarily agree with everything that they're doing, but this is what they feel. That's where they're at. A whole decades of frustration. Sometimes you just want to break stuff and do whatever what you can just to let it out. So I'm not going to judge them on that. It's the governments that should be thinking about creating an environment where the people feel that that's not necessary. But Still, there's a lot of us that are very pessimistic, but at the same time can still acknowledge that there is a difference in the energy on the continent, and they can see that, hey, it's a different energy. It might be a lot of problems that's going on, but at least people are doing something different. So here's some homework for you all that I'm giving to you, and I'm not going to do it for you. I did it on my own, and I believe really in anything in life, if you want information and you're passionate about it, you're going to look up this stuff yourself. You're going to do your own due diligence and not just rely on someone just feeding you information. So I want you to go and look up the amount of tourists that were killed in one African nation or even African region, and then compare that to the number of people killed in the US, and tell me which areas seem safer. I want you to also look up the fastest growing economies in the world and look up Africa's growth prospects and its profitability compared to the rest of the world, and go ahead and see what you see. When I have conversations with other just West Africans, typically Africans, but mostly West Africans, just on the East Coast, conversations are always good. And when they learn a little bit about me and what I'm trying to do and what I'm passionate about, it always takes them by surprise. And they're just like wondering, oh, okay, this is what's up, something new. And they kind of look at me like, are you sure you want to go down that path, investing and doing all that other stuff? And I'm like, yeah. So as we get deeper in the conversation, I usually ask them some specific conversation or specific questions to get their own mind thinking about what I'm saying is not wild. It's not really out there. So I'll start with just asking a basic question like, how much did you spend on your college degree to not work in the field that you got your degree in, or to not be happy in the work that you're doing? So they'll, just think about it like, oh man, like the college debt, it's sitting there, not really tackling it. And so that's the first reality that they notice. And then I ask them like, how much did you spend on clubs and hookah tables? Let's just say pre-COVID, so like 2019. Think of all the money that you spent on that. And we all have fun, but you can still add up the amount of dollars that you were spending leisurely. And then the next thing I'll ask them, or just throw in there, like, how much time do you spend watching TV or versus battles or TikTok videos or just social media in general? All that time that you spend, like, just think about it. So when they're conscious about their time that they spend on frivolous things or just the money that they spend, it I guess, I won't say humbles them, but it just makes them think about what they're doing in their life and the direction that their life is going. And I'll just, last question I'll, say in, so many words, like, imagine if you just took 10% of all that action and you put it back into yourself or your community. Would that be more fulfilling than what you're currently doing now? And once they understand that part of it, and they just think about, okay, what they want to accomplish in their lives, then it's like, okay, what I'm saying is not too wild. Like me trying to do something in my home country, either it would be Nigeria, just West Africa in general, and it's just like, okay, well, you focus on what's important to you, your priorities. If you're complaining about what's going on back home, what are you doing to help or just change the reality of what's over there? Now I just want to paint a picture for you, so you can close your eyes, or you can just watch the screen. I'll have some pictures up, and I want to take you back to when you were last back home, and I just want you to think about when you just hanging out with your families and your friends. think about the fresh food that you were eating. The suya, you had some good suya. How was that? Or your country's traditional meal, jollof rice, if you want to include that. Nigerian, Ghanaian, Senegalese, or not Senegalese, like chicken yassa. The hot sun that was tanning you every freaking day. I remember it. The noise of the cars driving frantically. The horns. Man, I remember the first time I went to Nigeria and they kept on beeping the horns all the time. And then I realized that they were beeping it to let people know that they're here, because apparently the cars get really close. It's not, there's no lines in the road, so people just try to maneuver. And I guess it's just so that they don't get hit, which is, I mean, the problem can be solved if you just draw lines, but it's also maybe for the bikers. Think about the parties, especially around the holidays, that were always memorable, that you went to, and just enjoyed the food and just the music, of course, the scene, everything happening. I remember seeing grandpa or just grandparents super excited to see you after all the years, coming in their traditional garb and wanting to cook like for a whole town just for you. The stories that our parents told us about how great and simple life was back then when they were growing up, and just not dealing with what they're, what's going on now. Think about just being on your parents' land and seeing the possibilities that are out there. The family house with acres of untouched land that's just sitting there, just rich in minerals and just resources, farming, whatever you want to do with it. So are you able to imagine that experience or remember that experience when you was last back home? So my thing is, this can be a reality for our children, or more possibly our grandchildren. And the question to ask yourself is, are you selfless enough to sacrifice, just like our parents did, to make sure your next of kin have that experience growing up back home? Because if we're not doing it, I mean, who is? So all I ask is, let's continue to, or if you're not, like, let's network with our community. We're all getting degrees, we're all going to school, we're professionals, graduated. Let's start just forming community base of just resources. So if anyone needs like professional services or just anything like that, tutoring, mentoring, we know who to call, because just like a directory or something like that. Because I can't be the only one that's talking this message, and especially when it comes back to just going and investing back home. Like, I need other people that are courageous, have the tenacity and the passion to manifest a better reality for the people back there. Whether it be for our own generation or our children's generation or grandchildren's generation. If like I said, if we don't do anything, then the future's just going to be darker and darker. What I challenge myself to do is to start putting out more videos about just personal development, entrepreneurship. I already started a profitable business about 4 years ago in the real estate space, and now I'm starting my second business. I want to bring other people that started their own business. I got one interview that's going to be coming soon where she inherited her father's business, a Nigerian sister, and just start talking about our experiences so we all can learn, we all can grow, so that we're not all starting on ground zero when it comes to the space. For those that are interested in investing, and doing business and really empowering the people back home, this is where it starts. So so I want to share my experience about that, bring some more personal development topics up, share just experiences of other people that are doing well in our community. As far as business wise, I'm just focusing on the business part of it, just for the beginning, and just so that we can excel and everything that we do in that space. So stay tuned for the next video. Appreciate you watching, and